The Less You Know is a comedy news podcast. Listen as your hosts turn headlines into punchlines. This podcast contains adult humor and language, so it's not for the faint of heart, nor the faint of age. Seriously, folks, if you faint on us, that's on you.
The Less You Know podcast is not a legitimate source or substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the help from a medical professional qualified in mental health with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. We're just three dumb babies, wee boo-hoo-hoo, we not doctors. We made poopy.
Tonight, on a very special episode of The Less You Know. Hey, I'm your anchor, Brandon Babcock.
I'm Andre LaMilza.
This episode, we're going to do something a little bit different because it's hell outside.
Yeah, it's hell.
I don't just mean that California is burning. I mean the world.
Paris is burning.
United States especially. But yeah, I don't necessarily have like a well thought out lead into this. I've had a lot of times where I've talked to people and they're like, more so than before, they're like, yeah, not doing well, TM.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah, you can't own that. Yeah. Trademark.
We all own that.
Who do you think you are?
And I take them to small claims court and they say bigger claim. And so I go to bigger claim court and they say even bigger claim. And then I take it to Supreme Court and yell because of the state of the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't know. I feel like I'm someone who does really well in captivity. But even still, 200 plus days of lockdown kind of gets to you.
Oh, it sure does. I'm not an introverted person, so this is not. I hate it.
Yeah.
Like I was learning how to become introverted a little bit.
That is a concept, Billy, to me. Trying to learn to shut off myself more.
There's nothing wrong with a little bit of it.
No.
It's more so in a healthy manner where it's just like I rely too much on going out and doing stuff with other people where I'm like,
sure.
I should learn how to enjoy my own company.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could be a hermit.
I can't fully, but I tried to learn, and it was going good. I was kind of balancing a little of both, and it was nice. And I was like, I'm cool with powering down once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a good balance. Like the high percentage still leaned in the extrovert, but
of course.
As soon as this happened, I no joke, I had a mental breakdown. I could not handle it.
Yeah.
And so when I went on the dating app, it was even more. Yeah. At first, I was more desperate to finding someone, and I didn't realize at the time it was just because I didn't want to be alone.
Right.
I didn't have I wanted a quarantine buddy, basically.
Yeah.
I went off the dating app for a bit to just recollect my thoughts and calm myself down. Cause I literally was having a panic attack. I was talking to Kira. I said to her this wall of messages being I don't like this. I was running in circles mentally. It was not pretty.
Yeah.
I was able to restable my thoughts, and then I'm I shouldn't be on this app to dating someone with this mindset. I need to fix it, because then I'm just going to be dating for the wrong reasons. I mean, obviously it did help having a quarantine buddy.
Sure.
But luckily I'm glad that meeting Lynn was not through that mindset, because I don't think it would have been a healthy mindset.
Oh, I can't imagine.
So yeah, it definitely was driving me crazy. And even now still, it's every time I go outside, I'm yay, oh, right, everything's could kill me still. The air, the people in the air can kill me.
Yeah.
Right. I just want it to go back so bad.
Yeah. I can't say I don't get all the fucking bozos who are trying their damnedest to pretend this isn't happening, and they're oh yeah, I don't need it, and they're killing people, and it's not fun.
No.
And it's a constant gaslighting.
Yeah.
I get where they're coming from, but chill, dude. If you had chilled in the first place, we probably wouldn't be this bad still.
Yeah, I mean, both my grandparents are 92, and I would love to go home and visit my family. But I was talking to Nicole about this. I don't think I could stomach going home actually bringing the virus, because then I would have killed them.
Yes.
It would have, no matter what, my whole life, I'd be that was my fault. I could have just not come.
Oh, you don't get over that.
Still don't want to be a cause for it.
No. No.
Yeah, it'd eat it away at me.
I went back to Michigan to pick up all my stuff because moving across the country a few times, I've left things in places. Like part of it, like I went with Dr. Jenny and she's like, oh, I get to meet your parents. And I'm like, yeah, I'm excited to get my stuff too. I want to say a week before I was like, I could kill my parents. Like they're old enough to be like, they're both 40 years older than me. Like they're at risk.
Yeah.
If that happens to happen. And I was like, this is the wrong idea. I'm doing the wrong thing. If it happens, I'll never be able to live with myself. Like,
yeah, no, it's sometimes it doesn't hit you until later.
Yeah. But luckily they're fine.
Yeah. My parents are fine too. I mean, my parents are like in their 50s now, but it's like my dad, he can't have any like form of surgery because he's like on blood thinners. So it's like anything that happens to him. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, I don't know. It's like, yeah, I get it. Everything sucks and you want to go see family and you want to go do stuff, but it's like, it's just weird to me. I don't know. It's just stupid. Like the people that just can't understand that. Here's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was watching a podcast with Edward Snowden on it, and it was interesting to me, like when things like 9/11 happened, everybody came together to help each other because they're like, yeah, America, all of us together, and everybody like helped people, even other people of color. Like everybody was doing a really good job at unifying to help each other to a degree. There was definitely a group of people that were then therefore heavily discriminated on.
Yeah. discriminated upon. Yeah. I know.
I'm the scat man.
Sorry, Nicole got me there.
It's fine.
There was something about the podcast to this point where I wasn't expecting any joke, and then that one was a Scatman joke, and so yeah. Please continue.
Edward Snowden was talking about how like the general consensus idea was for people to come together, and for the most part, other than people becoming very racist towards Muslim and Middle Eastern groups,
or I would say rather showing their racism harder.
Right. It's not like it necessarily came from nowhere.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I didn't mean it came out of nowhere. It's just
no, it's just funny.
Like, yeah.
It's the same thing that's happening right now, where people's racism towards Chinese people are coming out.
Yeah, I heard it's extra bad in Canada.
Really?
Not super important to what we're talking about, but yeah, read an article about how violent crimes have gone up more there than they have here, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah, I mean, our racists, thanks to Trump, have outed themselves pretty early, so I think ours is already high. Maybe Canada's just reaching our level.
Yeah, they're like, man, that Trump guy.
The more that comes out for us is just like sprinkling on the top of the shitty cake that we've baked. But I guess Edward Snowden was saying that there's just more of this unified mentality to help one another, like this mentality. But like in this certain like pandemic, no one has that.
Oh, it's
doesn't even have the inkling mentality of like let's help each other.
It sucks.
Yeah,
I really wish it was not like that.
Like the idea of America work together, which to be fair, with all the bad stuff that's happening, I don't completely disagree with them that you want to say fuck America because but America's always been broken. This isn't new.
Yeah, it was like a memeable broken before, but like not really, like because it was still bad, but like everyone had such a air of like business as usual status quo, where just like can't ask for much more, so like America. And now it's like showing its whole asshole, and you're like, oh, it doesn't smell good. It smells like asshole all day, every day. I'm afraid to touch my eyes because I'm gonna get pink eye, like emotionally.
Yeah.
To bring it back, I want to say about a decade ago, got like slowly started getting sicker. It wasn't a big deal until like 2015 when it became more of a big deal. And then it became less of a big deal. And I moved back to California.
Yeah.
But like, I think just still dealing with that for so long was getting to me on top of like all this new stuff. Originally, I was just doing this because I couldn't pay attention for remote. So I went to a psychiatrist and I was like, please give me attention drugs for I can't anymore. Before I didn't realize I had a whole bunch of systems to pay attention. Like I would have music in the headphones to keep me like horse blindered into something I'm working on. But without that, I am nothing. I cannot pay attention to a single thing. And stuff like that I was just used to because of my usual dailies. Like I had set up my whole stuff and, quarantine started. I was somewhere else. And so all this stuff coalesced and they were like, hey, you want to try mood stabilizers? And I was like, excuse me, what is this? And it helped me focus a little bit. But what it really did help with is with all the stuff happening in the world and all the police support, despite police being just the worst they've ever been on camera.
Oh yeah.
And off camera and everything else. Yeah. And I realized at a point that, I don't necessarily, it's not that I'm able to now doom scroll without like provocation. It's that I don't have a ton of emotional response to that sort of thing until I do. And then I have no outlet because I can no longer cry. So that's not for me. I found out. Yeah, it flattened me out emotionally, I feel like, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Which helped, but, ultimately.
I feel like I was in the opposite area as you.
Yeah, with a similar sort of thing.
Well, when I was unmedicated for ADHD meds or antidepressants, I had a very hard time fully sympathizing with people.
Okay.
The ADHD made me super hyper, so it kind of blinded the depression that I had, the clinical depression that I didn't know I had.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So when I got medicated for the ADHD, my emotional system was like, oh wow, my memory's better, I can focus, this is great.
Yeah.
And then I was like, why am I sad all the time? And it didn't make any sense. And it was just like,
what's this called? I don't know. It should have a name.
I got the saddies. When I took the ADHD medication, I realized that I had clinical depression basically. It didn't bode well with friendships for a while.
Yeah.
Went on a trip with one, and I had this part of it was also an issue from my dad growing up, and from the era of little bitches don't cry kind of thing.
Oh, parents cast long hard shadows.
Well, little bitches do cry, but I get.
But it didn't help in relationships. It didn't help in friendship relationships. It didn't help in general because it was that disconnect is something you kind of need it. But other people didn't know that was an issue, and I didn't know that was an issue. So it was
right.
It's even how do you even communicate that, and how do you even separate that as this is a thing that I am doing, and I want to fix it, but how do I fix it if I don't even know what it is?
Wow.
So it's you want to take initiative sometimes to do things, and sometimes it's just mentally out of your wheelhouse, control. Without I've coped with 27 years without ADHD medication, and you can totally survive and live your life without medication, but I had to create a system in place for me to never forget anything, and if that system ever derailed in any way, I just it wouldn't work. So it's you just have all these mental gymnastics you have to do. When I was first told I had diagnosed when I was 13, and I chose to not go on the medication because it didn't have as many variety.
Yeah.
Sure. Just Ritalin or die.
Yeah, Ritalin or Concerta, that stuff didn't work for me. So they were doctor looked me straight in the eye and he was like, you're gonna have to try twice as hard as everyone else just to meet the bare minimum.
Sick.
Yeah.
And that's how my life didn't go.
Thanks, doc.
That would be my response.
I didn't do great in school. It was hard to focus. And then when I realized I had, I don't know, I always just kind of I was going through therapy a bunch over the last few years, and I was like, there's no way I have depression, blah, blah, blah. I'm happy, I'm fine. And then my therapist was like,
look, Ben Wyatt from Parks and Recs. Can a depressed person make this?
Can a depressed person make yes?
They're like, oh no. Clay. And then my therapist was like, you sound like you might be depressed. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I feel I'm fine when I go out. And he's like, well, how do you feel when you're home, when you're not around people who are boosting your at your emotions? I'm like, sometimes I'm a little sad. But no, he was right. I was I'd go home and be a completely different vibe. And that's what made me realize why I was so much more adamant about being extroverted is because, you know, you don't want to be alone with your thoughts. No,
not with your thoughts. God, no.
Yeah.
And when I eventually got into antidepressants, that made things a lot better. I had a flood of emotions that I didn't even know I could have. And it's great experience. But then it also at one point I cried because I was wow, this is what I'd never had.
Oh.
Basically, they were telling me I had 25% emotion capacity that everyone else had. So I was,
oh, yeah.
So I was missing a lot.
Oh, this is Mob Psycho. I love that anime.
Yeah, my percentage went up to 100%.
Oh.
And then just mixed with the ADHD medication, everything just kind of it was just kind of like, oh, this is what a normal functioning human is. I mean, for normal is like subjective.
Yeah.
But there is a baseline that most humans function at, and like
average.
Yeah.
And the one time I experienced that emotional difference that really stood out to me the most was when we all went to go see Us. And Nicole, you were there.
Yeah.
And when I saw Us, it's a thriller.
Yeah.
There was a part where like the spooky stuff happened, the spooky stuff that makes you jump happened.
The spooky stuff started happening. Wouldn't you know it?
Like things. The thing is, even with the nerve emotions, I would still be like that sad. That like I could still be sympathetic to things and empathize to a degree.
Right.
But my intensity would be so minimum that it would look like I didn't care.
Yeah.
But when like a spooky thing happened, I literally just jumped up in my seat. It's like, oh my god. I was actually like freaking out in the seat, like next to Nicole. Nicole was too busy looking at Tim Heidecker.
I cannot tell a lie. That man is fine.
My heart was racing. I was like jumping, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is like how I would have normally been reacting." Like I didn't realize I was this emotive to things or this reactive to things. So like,
yeah,
that was like the biggest moment that happened, and ever since then, it's just been like feeling all the range of emotions has been like me having to learn how to walk again, kind of.
Yeah,
because like every emotion I felt was always, you know, at 20. At that point, I went like 28, almost 29 years with these nerfed emotions, and now you have like your first year of you're 100% high on like all the emotions, and you're like, I can feel everything. It's coursing through my veins. And the one thing is, I've never been like really an angry person unless I'm pushed to the edge, and I was very happy to see that the one emotion that I still didn't feel often was anger. Like it's still hard for that emotion to be something, because I was like, I really don't want this one to be amplified in any way, shape, or form. But I never had anger issues, so that's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my journey through medications.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of our former guests, Gene Goldstein, made a tweet yesterday, since it's within that wheelhouse. He said, saying LOL, what drugs were you on where you made this is not a top tier compliment as some think it is.
Yeah.
I think it's fun. I mean, that's just like every artist has seen that comment.
Normie core.
Yeah, but this one person, he said, just say antidepressants.
Oh, that's fucking funny, actually.
And she's like, that usually shuts them up right away. And I said, it's true for me, so I'm going to use this now.
That's super fucking funny.
Yeah, that worked. My friend Aaron keeps telling me that I might have ADHD, and I'm like,
you should definitely get a doctor to check up on that for sure.
I'm just like, I don't know if that's true.
I mean, I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if I feel that from you.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be more mild and also manifest in different ways. Like,
I'm sure.
Because Jenny did the same thing to me. Jenny's just like, yeah, you probably have ADHD to some degree. And I was just like, no, my mom has ADHD, undiagnosed, and she won't get treatment. And she's like, Jenny was like, it's genetic sometimes. And I'm like, fuck you. And then like the more I was faced with like not being able to focus, I was like, yeah. Because like the mood stabilizers just helped because they affect serotonin, how serotonin's processed, which also affects attention. Yeah. But it wasn't enough to a degree. Like when it was newer, it was like working, but then it just wasn't enough because that isn't necessarily what I need. But you might, to a small amount.
Maybe.
Well, because Aaron has it and takes stuff for it and has for a long time.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. But again, I don't fucking know anything.
Yeah, definitely talk to a doctor. They know things. Yeah. It's their jobs.
You got the insurance for it, baby.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Remember when you didn't have insurance, Nicole? Simpler times.
Simpler times. Remember when you just had to sit in your self-loathing like I did for 27 years?
Yeah.
Remember pain?
No.
No. Just numb now?
No. I don't remember nothing. Can't make me.
I refuse.
You can't make me feel things, but I mean, I'm a fucking mess. I don't know how to.
Ooh.
I'm still trying to parse it.
Yeah, I feel that, man.
I don't know. I have crippling. I know it's a haha joke to say, but I have seriously crippling anxiety and depression. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I think those jokes literally just came from people who actually had it, who were just trying to diffuse the humor, and then assholes started to use it.
Yeah.
They're like, haha, me too. And it's like, well.
I don't think you do.
Yeah, exactly.
I very much at times have anxiety that is literally crippling physically.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Yeah.
I don't know. I take medication. it makes it all right. Not all the time, but I'm figuring it out. I don't really know.
Yeah.
This is a quick question, also only for me. Is it all right for tonight? It's a strong bad
Yeah,
reference.
I know.
Anyways, please go on. Please go on.
I was like,
oh,
wait.
you know.
What is that from? Yeah.
All right for tonight. Anyways, please go on.
For tonight. Looks like I'm going to have to jump.
Jump.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
I love him.
I mean, I'm a little sensitive to when people throw ADHD around very leisurely.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
you know.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm not
Okay.
or anything like that. I'm just attaching on to like that cripple anxiety joke.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't something that I'm like, I hate you. Never want to talk to you.
No,
It's just it was like
yeah.
it's annoying to hear people go like, I probably have ADHD or should probably take some meds. Like
Yeah.
every single person like in my life.
Yeah.
Also, like ADD isn't really a thing. It's
Yeah.
just it was like a thing that people tried to use it obviously to describe something else.
Wasn't it overdiagnosed at one point in time or something?
Yeah, it was like being because
Oh,
like
yeah.
there was like ADD and ADHD, and it was just like an excuse to give people the medication who didn't really need it. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
people were like, "Oh, I have ADD," and I'm like, "No, you don't have ADD. You have ADHD."
Mhm.
Because like there's different types of ADHD. They like we were saying before. They manifest in different ways.
Yeah.
They need different treatments. So there's not gonna be like ADHD, ADD, AADD. Like
I have a question for you.
yes,
Do you see
yes.
Do you see pink Christina Aguilera monsters, or is that just Ritalin? South Park reference, everyone. We can move on.
I
Yeah.
see pink Ritalin monsters. ADD, they give you a different because it's like this whole false idea, and it was to give people certain medications. They will
Yeah.
give you medications you don't need. So it's like acknowledging that it's ADHD. Doctors will approach you different with different solutions.
Mm.
Right.
I constantly see people online and people talk about, and I've met in person who are misdiagnosed with. They're like, I have ADD, but my medication does this to me, or it's not helping me. And I'm like, you
Yeah.
probably have ADHD, and they're probably not giving you medications because the medication I take for my ADHD is a medication called Lamictal, and it's a mood stabilizer.
Yeah.
Because my ADHD is mood based, I found, which was not something I knew could be a thing. And this is because my which is weird because I had nerfed emotions, but my emotions with ADHD, my emotions were like wild. Like I'd have high highs. Like I could feel happy for like 3 days, or I could feel angry for like 5 days, or I could feel angry for like a second, or happy for like 3 weeks, or it was always just all over the place. Like the emotions.
Yeah.
That's like when you take that away, those were my serotonin boosters, even though they were wild.
Mm.
Then there's the depression.
Right.
When you treat the depression, everything's just kind of all leveled out. It's kind of like a lot of the stuff was just mood based. When I was in high school, other people had conditions like that, and obviously there was certain help for that, depending on how extreme it was. And those people all had different approaches to it, needed different treatment for it. So it's like if you're listening and you think you have ADHD, definitely get it checked. And
Yeah. Don't be like me. I wasn't like openly denying the idea that I might have it. I never thought that seriously. Like I would take ADD stuff like recreationally. I'd be like, oh, gotta hit this. Like found like would pop these pills. Which worked because of course, but be smart about it.
yeah, there's stuff in them pills.
Yeah, they do what they say they do. But like, yeah.
So it's not about me, it's about my mom.
Mm.
So my mom has, like, so far as I know, at least very bad depression stuff, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
whether she has anxiety stuff, I don't know, probably. But because she has a talent for going to really shitty doctors, at first, there was a doctor that prescribed her lithium, which if you don't know, is for someone who's bipolar.
Oh.
And like
Yeah.
way more serious stuff, right?
Yeah.
And she took it and it fucked with her really bad.
Understandable.
Because why the fuck would you take lithium when you don't need it?
Yeah.
And
Sounds like a metal.
Yeah.
she's just had a small history of being prescribed bullshit until pretty recently, because she wasn't able to take her regular medication for a long time because it was going to cost like $500 per, because it didn't go with her insurance. But recently she got it down to like 100.
Hell
And
yeah.
so she started taking them again. And I literally, like, it's like night and day with my mom. She'll be depressed and terrible and, like feeling like crap. And then the last time I called her, she was like completely different. She was like happy and shit. And I was like, dang. Like I don't know. It's just it works, guys.
This is still the lithium stuff.
No. That was a separate story.
Okay, they were blending together.
Because she stopped. When my older brother found out like what exactly she was taking, he was like, "Stop." like what are you doing?
Yeah.
Just knocks it on the ground.
Yeah, it's like no fucking wonder. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
She's just on an antidepressant.
Medication's crazy because like it's understandable. Sometimes the medication can be right, but it's completely the wrong dose.
Yeah.
Because the medication I'm taking for ADHD is mood stabilizers. That's usually used on bipolar patients, but they found when used on people with my specific form of ADHD, which is like more mood based, the mood stabilizers seem to have a similar effect.
Yeah. Trying to show that can work, guys. Literally, she like. I knew she was feeling better because she was trying dating again and she really likes this dude.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, yeah.
As long as your mom doesn't get into a place where she's like, oh, he makes me happy, I don't need to take it anymore. And you're like, Mom, stop.
No, she has a tendency a little bit towards that, but I know she wouldn't even try unless she was feeling good. So
okay,
yeah,
right,
yeah. I mean, also like when you can get rid of like that depressive cloud off of you, your brain also just thinks more logically. So it's like,
because she doesn't even try to do that when she's feeling like shit. So it's like I'm like, okay,
that's good. I'm happy for her.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so I'm always for that.
Yeah. Also, I'll tell this to listeners. I have an experience where I'll tell you, you can say "fuck you" to a doctor.
Yeah,
and a doctor can be wrong.
Yeah,
horribly.
Oh yes,
horribly
especially
wrong.
when it comes to your brain, because the brain shit is still pretty mysterious.
Yeah,
yeah, 100%.
One of my providers was. They went out of my network, so the prices went up. So I was looking for another person. I went to this one lady, and I was talking to her. When you talk to a psychiatrist, you got to kind of like just talk about yourself a little bit, tell them like how you've been feeling, give them like a brief rundown of like who you are. You get like an hour usually with them.
Yeah.
And when I was talking to her, she's like, I don't want to hear about that. I want to hear about this, or I want to hear about that. I'm like, what? Okay, fine. So she's like redirecting like anything that I wanted to talk about myself. And I really needed to refill my medications, my 2 medications. They're not medications you can just jump off of and you're fine.
Yeah.
There's stuff you have to be weaned off if you're going to go off it.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, you're bipolar.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not. I'm 100% not bipolar.
Yeah, like I know I'm not, kind of thing.
I'm like, my current medications work perfectly fine, and I'm in a fine, healthy place. I just need a refill and a new doctor. And this is stupid. And she was like, I'm the doctor. You're the patient.
Oh,
yeah, that's bad.
Shit. Fucking power trip over here.
So I just like took a deep breath.
Yeah.
Looked her in the eyes and I said, doctors can be wrong. And then I got up, started to walk out, and she was sitting down in her chair at this point, like writing a prescription for me or whatever for this bullshit medication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was about to walk out the door. She grabs my arm
to
stop me from leaving. And I pull my arm back and she's like, you're not mad at me, are you?
That's bad.
That was your first appointment?
Yeah, right off the bat.
That's bad.
Why does it fucking matter if someone's mad at you? Like, fuck you. What a holy shit.
That's bad news bears.
To wrap it, to put the little ribbon on the present. I don't know what the saying is. Icing on the cake. That's it. Icing on the cake.
Yeah.
I got a letter in the mail at the beginning of this year that said her practice closed down. And I was
like,
fuck you.
Good. Fucker.
Good.
And like when I left, there's people in the waiting room and I felt bad for everybody because they're all probably being misdiagnosed and mistreated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Who's to say she wasn't just trying to push a certain drug or something, you know?
Oh, I'm sure she was like pharmaceutically backed by a certain company that was trying to sell a drug.
Which is shitty to think that can be a thing, but it can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck capitalism. And 12.
I also want to say that the same goes with therapists.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to 1 or 2 really shitty therapists and psychiatrists. So I had a psychiatrist, like I went to this one therapist who, I won't get super into it, but like basically was acting more like she was my grandma than my therapist. I don't know. It was just bad news is all I'm saying. I had a panic attack in her office and she like was escalating it. And like, she was like, give me your dad's number. You should go home. Like all this, like saying all this shit. Yeah. That was like, what? Yeah. like very weird stuff. And like, she had me go to the psychiatrist that she vouched for. And I was like, okay. And I went, I talked to the psychiatrist for maybe like 10 minutes and she prescribed me like 4 different things, one of which was a bipolar thing. Like she tried to do the thing that they did to my mom where they just give you a bunch of fucking medication you don't need.
It sounds like this lady had some like financial deal with this pharmacist that they were because like she referred you clearly to like her personal pharmacist or whatever.
Yeah, it was just weird.
And then gave you a bunch of meds she probably makes a commission off of.
Yeah, and it was just like really. I went and bought it, but then when I looked at it, I was like, I'm not taking this. Are you kidding me? Like, there's no way. I don't think this is because I just didn't understand what I was taking or why, and I was like, I'm not gonna do that. That's not happening. And then I remember after that one visit with her, I was like, I'm not fucking coming back. This fucking shit ass therapist sucks. But so yeah, you know, you just anyone who's looking for stuff, sometimes unfortunately you just run into
this is wrong.
Bad
it's just listen to yourself.
Yeah, trust your gut.
Yeah.
I had someone who went to a specialist for like PTSD, and in the treatment, eventually with like thinking about it, they were saying like, oh, they were actively aggravating it the whole time. And like talk to another like specialist, and they were like, "No, you don't do it like that." And I was like, "What the fuck?"
It's not like immersion therapy.
Wild.
Yeah. The rule of thumb that I've always gone with therapists, and I've been to quite a handful. So if any of you listeners, if you're seeking therapy, definitely do it. Don't let like bad experiences with these doctors deter you from going to see more. Like sometimes it takes a while to find the right one that works best with you. But a therapist, one, they should be listening.
Yeah.
Two, they should not be making judgment calls onto you, at least to your face. And three, a therapist should never tell you what to do. If a therapist immediately starts telling you should do something, that's a red flag. Because they're supposed to be there to listen to you. If you want help or offered advice, you should be the person to ask for it.
Yeah.
They shouldn't like, I had one therapist that had like routines or homework, whatever. And if she did, she'd just be like, you can do this if you want. You don't have to do it. This is an optional thing. Or they should be like, maybe, you know, it could be this, or maybe you're feeling like that. Like they're more hypotheticals that help you bridge the gaps you're trying to achieve, because they're not solving the problems for you. You're solving your own problems, and they're there to help you guide across the journey. But if a doctor's like, you need these medications, go home to your parents, like that's something that a therapist should not be doing. They should not tell you what to do.
She didn't know anything about my family life or my anything. Like I didn't get that in depth with her yet. So what if that was a bad situation, hypothetically? Going back home, like she doesn't know. Which honestly, for mental stuff, my family's not bad. It's just they have a tendency to escalate, so I don't go to them about this stuff. So so it's like it would have been bad to go. I don't know.
Find friends you can confide in for sure. Don't rely on your friend to also be your main source of therapy too.
No, they're not therapists.
Because like it puts a lot of pressure on them as well. And you know, you're gonna get a very biased response most of the time from friends. Which is not bad. It's good to get responses from, because I'd get some opinions from a therapist and from my friends, because you know your therapist also is not hanging out with your friends. They don't. That's the other thing too, is like never lie to your therapist, because if you lie to your therapist, they're going to genuinely try to help you, and with the information that you give them, and they're expecting you to give them the truth, they're going to give you false help. And some people think, oh, this therapist is not helping me. I was like, no, the therapist isn't helping you because you're not being honest. Like they're giving you help as if that's what was wrong with you. But you're not giving the truth. If you gave the truth, you'd probably get the help that you appropriately
can't expect
need.
them to.
It's like a very big common problem when people like are refuse to go to therapy, and they just go in with the mindset that it's not going to work. they just subconsciously sabotage themselves.
I don't know what that's like at all. I will say I am guilty of this at the moment, but don't listen to me.
She'll go. I'm gonna make sure she go. I'll force her to go.
I'll go eventually. I mean, I have 2 months off now, so there you go.
Well, just always know that you're always in control, and a doctor should not tell you how to live your life. A doctor in any form, not just in therapeutic or psychiatric. I had a mutual friend who had like a tumor like thyroid, and she was gonna have to get it cut out possibly if it was cancerous, and she would have had to take full thyroid medication if they got removed and for the rest of her life. But she did so much research, so much double checking with doctors, that she found out that she only actually has to get the chunk taken out that might be cancerous. So she could keep it. So she actually got a quarter of her thyroid taken out because of her research. A doctor totally agreed with her, and he was like, look, if you really want to do this and I agree to it, we can do this. So he, like the new doctor she went to, she went through a couple too, talked to a couple different. Some doctors will just all say the same bullshit to get the same result that they want from you. That helps them either financially or whatever.
Yeah.
She's been fine. She didn't need to take any medication. It never came back.
Yeah.
It stopped swelling up. She's
That's
perfectly
good.
fine. So it's like,
it's good.
Don't forget, doctors are people too, but also you can't be afraid of them too. You have to.
Yeah, just ask a lot of questions. Make sure you know what you're doing.
It's like a necessary, sometimes evil.
Yeah. And definitely don't worry too much about overplaying something.
Yeah.
I think it's much worse to underplay
something. I think it's better to overplay it, honestly, because
100%.
Like if something is unusual, just go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to a doctor when I was back in Michigan about my body stuff, which I'd been dealing about with for years at that point, and I knew pretty intimately, and she was not convinced. She was not convinced to the point where, like, after enough times, I was like, you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm through this and I'm fine. And this is more psychosomatic. And then I made it worse because it's
not psychosomatic.
Can be worsened by diet and just like fucking. I was like, of course I didn't make that up. Why did I get gaslit like by a fucking doctor just because they fucking went to school?
Yeah,
like fuck
I
you.
feel like they should trust people more.
I mean, you know your body best.
Yeah.
They only know your body from an outside perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure if you're a doctor, you could deal with yourself amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like that's you know your body, and you know, unless you did bad in school and you just fuck yourself over. Then you're screwed.
Yeah. Yeah.
You ain't House MD over here. I mean, House even mistreated himself.
Sure.
I mean, he mistreated himself the most and did the good with everyone else.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing.
See, that's how bad a doctor can be if House can't do it right.
How if a fictional doctor can't even fucking
who can?
Yeah.
And in retrospect to situation, like I love that show, don't get me wrong. It was like my favorite show for a long time.
Oh yeah. I watched it religiously.
In retrospect, so stupid. Just cut off your leg, dude. Like that's come on. You're not fucking anybody anyway. And like the way that you're being and you're acting, just fucking cut off your leg, whatever.
Well, I guess that's part of his character. He's stubborn asshole.
That's fucking funny.
Yeah. It's like you literally wouldn't have the pain anymore. And
wasn't there like an episode where he could walk again because he was taking or doing something, but it was like really harmful to him or something?
Yeah.
Like, I can walk again, but I'm doing this one thing that'll probably kill me in a year.
Yeah, he like felt good, but it was like something. There's something to it. Yeah.
He's like super high or something.
God, I used to love that show, dude. That was like
because I don't know House super well. He had a leg issue because I know he was hobbling around with a cane.
He had a blood clot in his leg that fucked it up, and he has to and he's constantly in pain. So he keeps taking this medication, but
I think Vicodin a lot,
Vicodin,
something like that.
Yeah, it was Vicodin. He'd take Vicodin all the time, but it was bad. Like he was addicted to it.
It was candy, bubblegum, and taffy for him.
And it would keep. And like the arc was that over time it would work less and less because, like, you know.
Oh. Yeah, of course.
Because he's a resident bad boy in pain.
But yeah, no, I feel like I can kind of this is I'd say slightly similar. I think chronic pain can truly affect your psyche in a way.
100%.
And by think I mean absolutely. I've lived that life.
If you're always in pain, it's not gonna be good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, but like 100%, like something that I heard that like turned everything around for me thinking wise was and this is like for like chronic I would say suffering in general. But essentially the idea is like, oh, like let's say you need to put in a day all the cereal from one bowl to the other. And once you use a spoon, it breaks apart. And normal people have like 7 million spoons, like, or like they have, let's make it a much more realistic number. They have 20 spoons. And let's say you only need about 10 in a day. But then like if you're a chronic sufferer, you only have like 5. And then it's like, it's less like, I don't know. There's just something about like putting it into those terms that really made things click for me. I was like, oh, of course.
Yeah. It's way more stressful to put cereal with 5 spoons versus, you have so many more spoons.
Yeah.
So you're just like, I gotta somehow get all of it over there.
Well, here we go.
That reminds me that there's a good thing that one of my best psychiatrists, unfortunately, went out of my network, said to me that like gave me the best way I could probably ever describe whether or not you have ADHD or not. Like at least a big, a heavier, I guess, diagnosis of it, which was she was saying to say this to people who don't have ADHD.
Yeah.
Imagine you're going down a neighborhood street and you're reading all of the street signs as you're going down. Yeah. And you're like, oh, that's that one, and that's that one. And you have read off. She's like, now imagine you're going down that street at 150 to 200 miles an hour and now tell yourself to read all the signs and remember them. She said, that's your brain all the time. Like, that's why people with ADHD can't remember anything. It's like everything is just full blast.
Yeah.
What's that one meme where he's like, why are we going so fucking fast?
I wish I knew. What meme is this?
The guy's like hired him. He's like, wow, we going so fast. Oh. But yeah, it's like it really is how it is. And it made so much more sense after I got on to my ADHD medication, antidepressants. It was like, wow, I can see the science now. Like I can actually read. Like the biggest thing I noticed after getting the ADHD, I was like, I can just sit there, focus, and read something and be like, wow, I read a whole page and I didn't want to go off into la la land at the back of my head. Or go lay on the floor and do nothing. I don't even know how I got work done up until this point, to be honest.
Yeah, fuck. It's a lot all the time just living. Like you wouldn't have thought.
Yeah.
Like reading the 10, you're like, oh, living? Piece of cake. Everyone does it.
Imagine moving the cereal while going 200 miles per hour.
Oh, yeah, right?
Just all over yourself. I feel bad for whoever has that issue.
Yeah, right. It's a lot. It's a whole lot.
And if you're someone who's under the age who needs parental consent for anything, definitely.
Oh, we should put this at the beginning.
I'll put it at the beginning. Yeah. Listen to your parents when they're trying to help you with the medication, but also make sure that your parents are listening to you.
Oh, that's big.
Because
that's big.
It's like your parents obviously are hopefully trying to help you. Like my parents tried to help me with my medication, but they didn't.
Failed. I'm kidding.
But the thing is, they had to listen to me because they didn't know how I was feeling. And they gave me, I had the wrong diet, I had the wrong medication, and it was making me depressed and suicidal. My dad was like, okay, a 13-year-old shouldn't be wanting to kill himself. Something's wrong with that. And so it was
What?
they, asked me questions about it, and then I got off of it. So it's it's really red. I mean, I don't know how it's probably really hard to escape a parent who's trying to force pills down you against your will. But if pills aren't making you feel great, I'm not your parent. I can't tell you what to do. I'm not a legal or a doctor guardian, just as a disclaimer.
That's my purse. I don't know you.
Try and make yourself be as hurt as possible.
Not a doctor.
Shh. From your lawn.
Yeah.
I want to give a recommendation for something, but I don't know if it'll ever get me in trouble one day by someone who I don't want to give advice. Look, I'm going to say this.
I don't know if it's legally binding, but can't you just go out and say don't, I'm not a doctor. I can't be held accountable for this.
All right, fine. I'm a doctor, you can't be held accountable for this. But here's what happened with me. When the medication was making me feel bad, and when I thought that I couldn't go to my parents because I thought they wouldn't listen, I just stopped taking the medication and then I would hide it. Because it made me feel bad and I felt better off of it.
Yeah.
So it's for me, that was the one way that I was able to have control over the fact that I thought my parents weren't going to listen to me. And at first they weren't listening to me. But when they started to realize I was finding the medication I was hiding, they were like, okay, maybe we should listen to him. So I don't want to give the advice, just stop taking it, because here's the thing. I could have been giving a really big dosage that could have caused me to have a seizure or something, or a bad reaction. As an adult, it's if you just jump off medications, you can have a terrible reaction to it. So I'm not telling kids, just stop taking your medication.
No,
you have to slowly.
I got very lucky.
What he's saying is slowly cut them into smaller and smaller pieces, and then until you take nothing.
If that medication can be cut, that's also a thing too. Some medication cannot be cut.
Capsules, not so much.
No. And there's also extended releases and unextended releases. It's a lot. Yeah. Talk to doctors. We're not medical professionals.
Yeah, go into your doctor and say, hey, I'm looking to fuck over my parents so they listen to me finally. Can I make this smaller? a podcast told me to, who I will not be holding legally accountable for this advice they've given me. So what do I do, Doc?
What do, Doc?
Yeah.
You know what? Just don't even mention us. Just stop listening, unsubscribe.
Yeah. You're one of the many 200. We don't mind going to 199 plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
I mean, it's like everything's a mixed bag. Here's another thing also. When you're arguing with someone on the internet next time, this is just a general note. Everyone's got something.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's going through something.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Don't forgive the Nazi people. Or
the
incels.
Going through changes.
Yeah.
Here's the thing too. People who clearly have any mental disability, like any of us have or anything.
Sure.
Sometimes it's not a mental thing for people. Sometimes people do have something and and it's not known. And I've noticed people with mental conditions who have disabilities will sometimes look down on people who don't.
Sure.
Because you don't get my pain, you won't understand. It's like, yeah, they won't understand and they won't get your pain. But if they're not, giving you shit for it or giving you a hard time for it. Some people are afraid to tell their friends that they have.
Yeah.
I know that's a huge thing. I've seen online people made comics or stories about it. Some people are afraid to tell their friends because they're afraid they'll be treated differently. I understand that. I was always afraid. I avoided in high school telling people that I had ADHD and that sometimes I needed extra help from these help people at my high school because I thought that people would think I'm stupid.
Yeah.
I'm still embarrassed to admit this, but there would be people be walking in the halls and there's one of my classes was to go to this place and it was for extra help. And so I would just walk in the hall, say goodbye to my friends, and I'd wait till the halls were completely cleared. And then I would go into the room because I was embarrassed to let anyone see me that I was going into that extra help room.
No.
And I just wanted so hard to be the same as everybody else. And I hated being in a room that I felt different, but no one cares.
Yeah.
For the most part.
A real homie shouldn't care.
Yeah.
A real homie should not fucking give a shit.
And if a friend is, giving you shit for it, fuck them.
Yeah.
As I said earlier, I was told that I have to be twice as hard to function at a normal level, but I'm not a normal person.
Sure.
There's a divide for sure, and you have to acknowledge that there is a divide to overcome it, but you are a normal person. You should still be treated like a normal person, regardless if you're taking medication or not.
Oh, yeah. That's just decency. And I'm not going to say that, if you are a younger person listening to this and you're like, you're right, a homie wouldn't do that. A homie might. And they might not realize what they've done until it's too late. And then at that point, it might be a good time to cut them out of your life. Talk to a different homie. I don't know.
Yeah. And if you know that homie might be a good person overall, but is giving you shit for that, just be like, Derek? Derek? I swear to God, I love playing Smash Brothers with you, but you gotta stop smashing on my mental disabilities, bro.
Yeah.
It ain't cool. Hey, you can't hang out with me or play Smash with me. I got the Switch and you don't. I know you don't, and I know you gotta come over to play it. But you stop being mean to me. No, but seriously, just tell them, cut it out. It's hurting your feelings.
Yeah.
And if they don't respect your feelings, then you can't play Smash with me anymore.
No more.
Play online with bad Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Oh, God. Why did that bring me down like that? An entire podcast talking about mental health stuff, but...
What if you go online to play?
Yeah.
And the player's name is
respect people on medication.
You're respect on meds or something. You're like, this guy.
Yeah.
I'm playing with this guy. You end up meeting at a world championship. My new best friend.
I don't know how long we weren't recording. Not that we have to do a full episode.
I think 10 minutes, but just love yourself.
Love yourself.
As the infamous words of our friend Josh Slurms McKenzie. Love yourself.
I love that the Slurms McKenzie part continues to stay.
If you need to sing out, sing out. I would continue that bit, but I don't know that song.
Surround yourself with good homies.
Yeah, if possible. And
get help if you can afford it.
Yes, big time. And even if you can't, there's a surprising number of therapists who will do a sliding scale or just look around if you can manage the spoons for that day. Definitely there are options for a lot of things, and hopefully you can find one that works for your situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're someone who has friends with
lucky
I was going to continue that with who has mental disabilities. That would have been
You're someone who has friends. Wow. Good job.
Like, and you don't know how to approach them about it.
Yeah.
Just ask them. Like, I know you feel afraid that you might offend them, but sometimes people just, they might feel uncomfortable about it. But like, just be like, hey, I noticed this thing. Is this a thing? Like, just, try and be polite about it.
Yeah.
Sometimes people we're like me, want someone to acknowledge it and just let them know that like, I don't think about you anything different. Or like, if they do admit it to you, just keep treating them the same way that you before. Like some people think that you have to start acting different now, or like, oh God, he or she's fragile now. It's like, no,
right.
They're not. That's the worst thing you could do is start to treat them like they're different.
Yeah.
You being there as a solid homie is also like knowing that someone might have this and knowing that, if something does happen, I know what it is. I know to call 911. I know they're spiraling. And I should be there for them. Like you'll be able to be there for those people in the time of need if they ever need it.
Yeah. And even if you like reach out and you're like, oh, they never want to do anything, like, so I'm just gonna give up. Like, if you can still, and this is for I guess people who aren't going through as much shit, clearly, because you can get something out of this too. There's stuff here for you. But like, you're like, man, X is so much like, I like. Try not to make it too much about yourself. And if like they are like over and over and you're like, oh, they don't hang out anymore, like keep inviting them. Like I'm sure they appreciate it even if they can't physically, mentally, emotionally do it. Like just trying to keep them in your world still. I'm sure that's just the best thing.
Yeah, that's definitely very important.
Yeah.
Some people, they just want to know you still care. And, just because someone's having a hard time doesn't mean that's a sign that they don't like you anymore or they don't want to have anything to do with you. Sometimes they just need help and they're afraid to ask for it.
Yeah.
I was going to say one last thing.
One more thing. Magic must defeat magic.
Magic must
defeat everyone. No, but go on. A really good mantra you could do to help stimulate your brain is Umu Gwegwe 5
I remembered it. It worked. You only had to say it once.
I love Jackie Chan.
Just know that if you feel like you might be going through depression since the lockdown happened, you can. Like, there is clinical depression, which I have, which is a chemical imbalance, and there is just a day-to-day depression that can happen just from your life being messed with in a way that you're not comfortable with. So there's a type of depression that you can overcome with like better diet, health, help, better mindset. And then there's just some that you realize, why isn't it going away? It could be clinical. So it's like, yes, a lot of you people could be going through genuine depression that you can find ways to overcome. Or if you can't, just hang on as long as you can until we can get out of this situation. Because I'm sure it's making everybody a little stir crazy and putting you in emotional states that you've never experienced. It could be triggering anxiety for you for the first time or a panic attack. Yeah. So just, try and find friends, hang out on calls if you can.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Because people are ultimately, even if you are the best introvert, people are ultimately social creatures.
Yeah.
We're mortal.
Yeah, that's how we work.
Yeah, buddy.
So
we're mortal. Except for Jalen. Jalen's God.
That's true.
There's nothing wrong with Jalen.
I hear that guy's thriving.
I hear that guy is 30, flirty, and thriving. You remember that movie?
I remember 13 going 30.
That's the movie. Yeah.
13 going on. I
remember 13 Reasons Why. Don't watch that. Watch it if you want to watch something bad.
I should watch that. What? We're 30. We should watch that movie.
Oh, God.
Along with Willow.
Yes.
Anyways.
This is Unless You Know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Contact us at 2OK Pod on Twitter. Amazing voice actor. Go check him out.
Yeah.
We have a Discord. It's on our Twitter bio. Go to our Twitch, twitch.tv/TLKpod. We play some games and we're going to be moving our podcast there. And we'll still be on audio format. Don't worry. We'll still always be here in your hearts.
Yes.
I'll be in your gullet.
Stay as healthy as possible.
Yes. As much as you can, the best you can.
I say don't. Be unhealthy. Fuck everyone.
Toxicity. Be a rebel.
Be a rebel.
Join the
Pretty good
dark
album, though.
Join the dark side.
Yeah.
I hear that they have cookies, and that
Oh,
has
God.
aged me 1,000 years. Okay,
No.
good night.
It sure did.
No,
Jesus.
No.
I am back at a fucking mall looking at a t-shirt stand, and I'm like,
Oh, I hate everything you just said,
the phrase that can destroy any elder millennial.
Lenny Hoozle. That's been the less you know. Bye, guys.
Goodbye.
Yeah, bye.
Thanks for listening to the Less You Know Health and Wellness episode. Even though it was made by pee-pee poo-poo duty pants babies, how are dumb little babies that can't even hold their heads up supposed to help anyone with medical advice when they have object permanence? I mean, really, they won't even remember you once you leave the room. Is that the kind of dookie doctors you want?
What's this called? I don't know. It should have a name. Also, I'll be right back. I really gotta. I really gotta shit. So I'll be right back.
I got the saddies.
I'll be 1 sec. Sorry, guys. You can keep going.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Oh, it happens. So, guys, I'm prairie dogging right now.
Yeah,
have to leave.
Now we have to leave that in. That she had to shit.
Bruh, I am just dying.
I don't know how long she's gonna be taking a shit. Should we stop the recording?
I don't know. Hello, welcome to Dead Air. I'm your captain. Today we're going nowhere.
Nowhere.
Suddenly nowhere.
I got nobody to go nowhere. I told her we're waiting. She said LMA. Okay. Maybe that's a sign that her shit will be very long.
Oh.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Me back.
Mm.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Shiver me timbers. That's what they say, huh?
It's a me.
Okay. Let's resume.
Resume.
Fans are wishing Avril Lavigne a happy birthday.
Good for her.
Wow. What news?
She's still a Japanophile.
I don't know. Probably.
I love that she loves One Piece.
Yeah, she did music.
Like, that's the funniest fucking thing.
She did stuff for what Film Z. She did like the outro.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
And I think like fucking she got her husband Nickelback to help.
Yeah.
Her husband Nickelback.
Her husband.
She's married to the entire band
of Nickelback.
Yeah. It's like a polyamory thing.
Yeah. I could see it.
Yeah, but the song she sang at the end was just the Mickey song.
Oh,
Mickey,
song?
You're so fine.
Really?
Mickey, blow
That
my
was the
mind.
ending song for that movie?
Yeah.
Film scene.
It was like, I think she gave her own lyrics to, but it was literally that beat.
Hey Luffy, you're so fine. You're so fine. You're the pirate king. Hey Luffy.
Your dick is stretchy, Luffy.
If only I could have what you and Boa have.
I would like my hand cocks. I don't know. Anyways.
Got him. Yeah.
Anyways, where was I? Ah, yes. Emotional detachment.
Depression.
Yes.
Craig just bailed.
Craig shit the bed. Craig, stop shitting the bed, bud. We talked about this. You can shit in the toilet. You don't gotta shit the bed.
I don't want to be alive anymore. Craig, it's okay. Yeah.